Hi Shannon, I've made this video for you to sort of talk about the workbook, and I've been meaning to do this for so long, but I've had quite a few workbooks to get through. Right, so thank you. We have this first workbook to sort of use as an example as to what I need you to sort of do, and a lot of the information is literally transferable. So this was the spreadsheet you did for me that we worked on together. You recognize this because you collected, this is all your data that you put in. Looking at the skills here, and these are the behaviors that you also filled in. You sort of reference those. Now, this is what the actual workbook looks like, and I'm going to email this to you, of course. Now, there are just a couple of things that are extra. So, and I sort of tried to map them through for you. So, for example, yes, my workbook had skills and behaviors, but there's another page called knowledge, and this just wants to sort of know a couple of things on business awareness and IT systems and financial accounting and reporting. And as you look through the questions, you'll see that you already have the information from skills and behaviors to populate knowledge. And I've done the first workbook for you to sort of guide you. So it kind of ignore all this for now, and let's just go straight to the information. So for example, this is knowledge, and it says the first one is business awareness, and it says describe. This really wants to know what it is you're actually doing. It says describe the main transactional processes and reasons why these need to be undertaken. And you remember here you were looking at processing payments. This is literally the same work you did from here. Let me just go back to here. So this was your very first piece that you did from the very first here on the processing payments on analysis. So it's the same information. We're just using it for knowledge as well, which is fine. So you're literally just reading. If you read through what I've done, it's literally the same thing. I'm just saying that this is what you do. You are working in income and payments, and that's the very first sort of thing. Now, if you look at the next question, it says describe and understand the business strategy that meets the needs of these stakeholders. So literally, why you're doing this thing, if you like. And I'm sort of talking about you actually just really the reasons why you're carrying out this transaction. Is it to save money for the business? Is it to ensure the income statements are fine? Whatever it is, it's really why. This is really asking why. Right. Then let's look at 1.3, the last, no, there's one more. It says identify relevant and compliant information demonstrating. So you can literally reference 1.2. It's really just sort of saying, just show us again, because you do, the process behind what you're doing. How and why you're doing what you're doing, and how do you know what to do what you're doing. So it's almost like give us the instructions that are guiding you, if you like, to do what it is. So if you can talk about maybe whether you were shadowing someone or whether there was actually an instruction sheet, that's perfect. But it's really about just what's guiding you to sort of be aware that this needs to be a sort of this question of financial business awareness. Is it for profit-making purpose? Is it to save costs? That sort of thing. And this just talks about how it fits within the business objectives. So again, it's really about 1.2, preventing problems from happening, and if you like, saving costs for the business, or making sure the financial financial statements can actually be prepared. So please read through this and see how you can either improve it or grow it. That's really the idea. So to us, she just wants to know, what systems do you use at work? Literally talk about the systems and the software, whatever they actually are. Name them, talk about them, and that's what's really happening there, and how it enables you to do your work. So if it's Excel, if it's an internal system, whatever the names of those systems you're using, you can see here it's literally saying the same thing. How do those, even though you don't end up doing the end of the financial statements, just talk about what systems and software you're using where you are in your department. And here it says demonstrate an understanding of data protection within the organization. So reference your GDPR certification and anything else. So guidelines as the passwords and logging off, and any training you're being given regarding how the data, if you like, how you store your data, in terms of, if you like, how is data, the storing data, whether it's stored in the cloud or in drives that no one else can get to, and that sort of thing. Right, 3.1, we need a VAT return done. Now, hopefully, I'm sure, the good thing is you can always just sit, I'm sure you can get the chance to sit with either Carol or someone to get one done. Otherwise, we can use one from your text. I'm not too worried about this because I know you have access to being able to do this. And hopefully, by the time I come round, you might have moved from income payments. I don't know. We'll see. It's not the end of the world, but we need some evidence that you can actually prepare a VAT tax return. And then from 4, it's very much back to, you can see where it says analysis is back again very much to what I was saying with our spreadsheets, right? Analysis, it just really carries on from there. And I've lifted this, you just have to expand this. I'll just maybe expand this to 150. I've just literally taken that information again. So you can actually just reference 1.1 and 2 again. It's really just saying that you've collected information and what have you done? You've applied some accounting standards. I mean, that's fine. The key point is that because you've collected that information, it is or lining up with the accrual system or something along those lines. And again, reporting on it. So you're really just here telling us the purpose as to why. So whenever you see this idea of monitoring and decision making, it's really about to do with budgeting. Of course, I mean, you've done budgeting now or costing. It's really about, oh, this information I'm collecting feeds into some type of budget in some capacity, or ends up being used to prepare financial statements, if you like. Right. And then here, I just wanted to talk about the internal controls. What authorizations do you have in place? Any training to guide you? Does someone need to look at your work before it's finalized? It's really about what controls are there in place to prevent mistakes from happening, even just a batch control or anything along those lines. Just controls to make sure the right figures go in, and that's what they want you to talk about here. And really, again here, it's about processes. So this is really asking to look at the information and just how do you know, before you press send, how do you know that the information is correct? And is it in line with the company's performance? So on this very first one that you did when I came to meet you, probably didn't do much of this, but at least you were at least looking for exceptions or anomalies. Are there any exception reports? That sort of thing. And really, I just go through the list, and I've transferred a lot of the information from that spreadsheet that you gave me straight onto this. And that's what I really want you to just sort of do. Just tidy it up, make it in the first person, as in with you, as yours. And because you already have that spreadsheet, you see, so I just want you to almost rewrite it out into this sort of the main spreadsheet, if you like. So I think what I want you to do is have a go at that and just kind of go through this spread and see what I've done. When I write an email to you, I'll sort of explain that I would like you to do it. Say that really spend some time. When I say spend some time on the Friday that you're not in class, spend some time looking at it so you can have questions for me, and hopefully I can see a draft before I arrive. Now, you'll see that it's really the same thing. You're literally just working through and trying to answer these questions and discuss them. A lot of them repeat themselves. So where they repeat themselves, just reference the initial part, the initial situation where you did it. So for example, 8.1, if you answer 8.1 correctly, you can just reference 8.1 when you do 8.2 because a lot of it is sort of very similar. So I'll let you sort of play with that. And the second thing here is that when you do this, so what I need you to do is, this is for the very first spreadsheet, right? What I want you to do is to kind of create for the second pieces of evidence, the second level, like level 2, what you were going to send to me, is to create another spreadsheet. So let me just show you kind of like what I mean. So Olga, I'll just go to Olga, for example. Olga actually she's done the first one, which is like what you've done. So you have that. That's her spreadsheet. She's transferred everything into a workbook. But she also has a level 2, which is exactly the same thing. She now has a new fresh workbook, and again, collecting that evidence on that fresh workbook and just putting it in, answering those questions again. When we come towards the end of this process, we will transfer, hopefully, we'll have about 3 workbooks by then, transfer all of it onto one master workbook, if that makes any sense. But the key point for now is get the first workbook done, and then let's sort of plan on getting the second workbook done as well. Cool. I hope that helps. And what I'll do is I've tried as much as possible, which is why it's taken a while, to transfer your information on your spreadsheet onto this workbook. So a lot of this should be filled. You're just rewriting it in your own words and adding more information. And Phil, please ask me any questions on any of the different points as we go along. Right? Okay. Great stuff. I hope that helps. Cheers. Oyen.